If you're fascinated by the hidden corners of history and the ingenuity of medieval artisans, you've just stumbled onto something extraordinary. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the Global War Archive, because here we uncover the forgotten technologies and survival techniques of our past. Insights that can inspire not just curiosity, but practical understanding. Today, we're delving into a world often overlooked: medieval textile alchemy, a craft that transformed fibers into materials that were stronger, more vibrant, and in some cases, almost magical by today's standards. When we think of alchemy, we usually imagine turning lead into gold or chasing immortality. But in the medieval period, alchemy extended far beyond metallurgy. It was applied to the textiles that clothed kings, soldiers, and commoners alike. Medieval weavers and dyers were chemical engineers of their time. They understood the interaction of plant fibers, mineral mordants, and natural dyes in ways modern chemistry is only beginning to rediscover. They experimented with techniques that could produce colors resistant to sunlight, fabrics that repelled water, and threads so fine yet so durable they could survive centuries. For serious history buffs, these methods are more than curiosity. They represent applied science at its peak long before the Industrial Revolution. The first step in grasping the depth of medieval textile alchemy is realizing that these craftsmen weren't just weavers, they were experimenters. They manipulated plant-based fibers like flax, hemp, and wool through processes that involved soaking, fermenting, and treating fibers with a variety of natural substances. Take wool, for instance. Medieval dyers would treat it with alum or iron salts to fix dyes, a process that could transform a simple plant pigment into a color fast enough to survive washing, sunlight, and decades of use. These weren't mere recipes. They were empirical chemistry built on trial and error, observation, and centuries of accumulated knowledge. Silk, meanwhile, was a different challenge altogether. Imported from the East and extremely costly, it demanded delicate handling. Craftsmen discovered that certain metallic salts could alter the silk's sheen and dye absorption, creating colors that appeared almost luminous. Even more remarkable, some techniques produced threads that were not only visually stunning, but mechanically stronger than untreated fibers. A medieval example of fiber reinforcement that modern materials science still studies today. Textile alchemy wasn't limited to the chemistry of dyes. Weaving itself was, a transformative process. Medieval weavers could manipulate tension, thread density, and layering to create fabrics with, hidden properties. Some tapestries were designed to insulate or even repel moisture, while others incorporated patterns that amplified the aesthetic effect of light and shadow in candlelit halls. This wasn't just decoration. It was an early understanding of optics, material physics, and human perception applied directly to everyday life. One of the most fascinating aspects is the use of metallic threads in high-status garments. Gold and silver threads weren't merely ornamental, they were processed to prevent oxidation and brittleness, ensuring longevity. Surviving examples from the 14th and 15th centuries still retain their luster. Modern textile engineers have studied these threads to, reverse engineer how medieval artisans prevented tarnishing without industrial coatings. For a history enthusiast or a practical survivalist, understanding this approach can inspire techniques for preserving modern materials in resource-limited conditions. So, how can this knowledge be applied in a practical sense? For one, survivalists and reenactors can use medieval dyeing methods to color natural fibers with minimal modern chemicals, creating garments that are both historically accurate and durable. You could extract tannins from oak bark or madder root to dye wool, then use natural mordants like alum to fix the color. Similarly, layering and weaving techniques can inspire lightweight, insulating fabrics or water-resistant layers using materials available in nature. Even the study of metallic threads can inform modern projects, from reinforcing home-crafted cordage to understanding corrosion-resistant materials in field conditions. For historical researchers, experimenting with these methods provides insight into how medieval societies approached problem-solving with limited technology. These techniques were deeply intertwined with survival, economy, and social status, revealing how knowledge, resource management, and craftsmanship intersected in ways that are rarely appreciated today. Ultimately, the art of medieval textile alchemy reminds us that history isn't just a list of events, it's a repository of knowledge. Every dyed thread, every woven pattern carries lessons about chemistry, physics, and ingenuity. By studying these practices, we can uncover techniques for resilience, sustainability, and creativity that modern society often overlooks. For serious enthusiasts, this is a call to explore, experiment, and apply historical wisdom, not as a novelty but as a practical extension of our understanding of material science and human ingenuity. If you found this dive into medieval textile alchemy fascinating, take the next step, subscribe to the Global War Archive, share this video with fellow history buffs, and join a community dedicated to uncovering the forgotten technologies that shaped our world. Each thread of knowledge you explore brings you closer to understanding how our ancestors turned everyday materials into something extraordinary, truly weaving technologies beyond our understanding.